Hey, everybody. Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised on the Radio. I am one half of this show. I am Colt Brocado. Patrick Blair, blinging in Zoom land as usual. I told you beforehand, I don't know how much I can keep a straight face while recording this. This is pretty epic.
Normal shit, dude.
Last year, which in general, this is weird to say. I don't know why, but like we've been doing this podcast for quite a long time now because we did this last Halloween.
Yeah.
And we had been doing it for quite a while then, I think. But you were not dressed up like this.
I mean, I put something together quickly, and it was really just, I don't know. I don't know what you would have called what I did last year. Maybe like douchebag rocker.
But, so you said you bought this or you had this, I guess, to put together because you're going to party tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what you're dressing up as for the party, or is this going to be a surprise?
No, I don't. I mean, my wife does. That's it. I haven't told anyone. I mean, why would you tell anyone? It's got to be. And I even got I bought some fresh shell toes for the occasion.
I feel like you had those before you had anything else.
No, I didn't. I swear to God. No, I just bought them. Brand new.
Okay.
Just put them on.
I just know you're a sneakerhead. So
I am. And to be honest with you, I am a sneakerhead, shamefully, but also enjoyably. That's a word. But like when I went to buy these, I had 2 pairs of these back in the day in the new metal days when they got really popular. And I had your basic black and white, and then I had a pair of white with red stripes, right? Okay. And so when I went to buy these, and I was like looking all over the place, and like typically my go-to, well, to be honest with you, when it comes to sneakers, like if you want to find a deal on the fly, eBay is always where I start. And then you kind of go from there. But dude, these are $100 now. And I commented to my wife, I was like, man, I don't remember these shoes ever being that expensive, because I was buying these when I was like 19 and I didn't have a fucking dollar to my name. So there was no way I was paying $100 for these when right. I'll be honest with you. I did spend every dollar I earned from work on shoes and clothes and stupid shit. But like, but those typically, and you're going to have to forgive me, I've been sick for a week. I just now feel normal, but if I don't hit the mute button, I apologize. But she was like, "Yeah, no, they're nostalgic. They're coming back. Like people, they're in high demand because kids want to wear what was cool." And I'm like, "Okay, well, all right, well, $100. I mean, that's not a lot. I've spent way more on shoes, but like for these, I mean, I'm not a big Adidas guy, to be honest with you. When it comes to sneakers, I'm Nike and Vans, and then if I find something goofy that some like little small company makes, I'll buy it. Like my ODB shoes. Have you ever seen those?
I don't think so.
They're pretty sick. They have let me see if I can get them on screen. Come on.
That's right. I did see those. Yeah. Those are pretty sweet.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I have a question going back to what you said a while ago, because I wasn't expecting you to say that, like, to match shoes to a music time period. Was that a thing? Like you said, new metal days. So was that a thing? Like, were there artists that you see wear a certain pair of shoes and you had to go out and have those pair of shoes?
Well, the shell toes specifically, and Adidas, specifically Korn and Limp Bizkit, were 2 of the big ones that, like Jonathan Davis wore this jacket that I'm wearing, which really caught fire back in the early hip hop days, which is what the costume is that I'm wearing. But like Jonathan Davis wore this with his kilt and it just exploded, Gotcha. And so, yeah, but those two bands really, I think, specifically help bring back Adidas shell toes and the jackets and the tracksuits. And, Fred had the backwards New Era hat, and then he eventually had his own line of hats that, to be honest with you, I wish they would come back with. Those were really good hats. Very basic, but very good hats. Yeah. So, I mean, the shell toes were very new metal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hip hop starting out and then new metal, but the whole idea of new metal, that it was derived from the early new metal bands were derived from hip hop and the hip hop they grew up listening to. So I don't know.
Okay. I gotcha. I guess I never really thought about, like, in maybe the rock genre or maybe most genres. I don't know that I've ever seen
there was a lot of like punk and like emo bands that made Macbeth really big. Macbeth was a company that was started by, I want to say, the dude from Rise Against and a couple other guys, but it was, the idea behind the shoes was that they were all vegan or all like they're no animals were killed to make them, that type of thing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I owned a few pairs. I'm not gonna lie, they were actually pretty cool shoes, and you get them in the mall. You get them in like Journeys and places like that. That's really the last period I remember bands being really influential with like bands. That is bands, not we're not talking about hip hop because hip hop's still
that's different for sure.
But like bands being influential with like fashion and stuff. I think I'm trying to think. Like I mean, I would say
like
that
the biggest things that's popping in my mind is like Kid Rock wearing the big fur.
Oh yeah, I mean Kid Rock wore the Adidas tracksuit and yeah. As lame as it was, I mean he definitely was like he was a trendsetter with the way that he dressed.
Yeah.
Guys started wearing leather pants with like faux red leather pants with wife beaters.
Yeah.
And pimp hats. I mean, I saw it. It was lame, but he did something. So
speaking of that, I was listening to, I think I mentioned it on the last episode that we had, but I was listening to the Fly on the Wall podcast with David Spade and Dana Carvey, and they had Sheryl Crow on, which I know you would never listen to that episode, but
definitely not.
For one, I didn't remember that she had so many hits.
Name them.
So like that, if it makes you happy, if it makes you happy song.
Okay, keep going.
I don't remember any more on the top of my head.
All I want to do
that's
have some fun.
Yeah. Plus she was a Missouri girl.
Yeah, I mean.
But anyway, so the reason why I bring her up is because the Kid Rock thing reminded me of her. Oh, and that song Picture with Kid Rock and her, that song blew up. Do you remember that song?
No, I'm so glad I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, they got to talking about the Woodstock 99 documentary.
Okay.
And her being on,
she was in it.
Yeah. Well, she was saying like it was so crazy because she was on the first day, and she said people were already throwing shit everywhere. And she said that while they were on stage, shit landed on her guitar. And that was when she said, "I'm out." And she turned around and left. I just thought it was funny to hear somebody who was actually there talk about that. And that was on day one. Can you imagine what it was like on day three? I mean, I know we do because we've seen the documentary, but still.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with like a couple of people that were there. More importantly, like crew or something. Yeah. Not necessarily bands, because like we talked about this already, but like bands were so kind of like they knew, but they didn't know, that whole thing. Like, I think it was, I would love to like, and not the crew that were hired for the documentary, because I think they were towing the line a little bit. Yeah. That one guy wasn't, that we talked about. That guy was like, I'm fucking going for broke. I'm throwing everyone under the bus. A couple of the people that just kind of maybe have, fell through the cracks, I would love to speak to them about it. Speaking of festivals, when we were young, what are your thoughts? Day one got canceled. Everything that I've seen, I've watched live performances from it. Story posted some videos, and I'm telling you, man, like, and we can get into their new song after I say this, but like, I'm telling you, dude, the pop that they got was something special. And I know that's what the festival was designed for. It's like nostalgia. All of these bands you used to listen to, they're coming back. They're going to bring you back to those songs you loved.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just so like, maybe I'm so attached to it because they're from here and I'm friends with a few of them. And it's like, I don't know. When I watched the videos that they posted, I was like, God fucking damn, dude.
Yeah.
Like you expected it with Paramore and with Bring Me the Horizon and but with them, it was like, fuck. Like people like it was cool. It was just cool to see,
Do you think, so I know it's like a big nostalgia festival, but do you think it matters where it's located that they got that kind of a pop?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think Vegas was a really cool location for that.
Yeah.
Because it gave the people going an extra incentive because it's Vegas.
Right.
It's not remote. It's not middle of nowhere. So there's nothing to do before or after the festival, which could be a good or a bad thing, however you want to look at it. But I think it definitely played a part. I mean, but what do I know? I mean, their pop and, there was, Bond posted videos of Census Fail.
Yeah, I did see those.
And dude, I mean, fucking unreal. To me, it felt like everyone got a just insane reception from the crowd.
Yeah.
Again, that was by design. I don't think that should be surprising, but.
Well, I mean, you think about even all the, the massive festivals that happen across the US, not even talking about the pandemic, because the pandemic did shut a lot of those festivals down over the past couple of years. So I think that might be part of it too. The nostalgia thing, of course, but also people are like ready for festivals again. So I think that might be part of it also. But I mean, even okay. So the big festivals around the US, like Rock on the Range and stuff like that, there's still a lot of bands on those that nobody really knows, or that are, kind of coming out. I mean, maybe coming up if you want to consider it that. But if I look at a flyer for all the bands on a certain stage, as those bands like start getting smaller in font all the way down to the bottom, I'm not knowing half of those bands. This is a festival where you freaking knew every band that was on there.
Well, and that was the point.
Yeah.
That was truly the point. It was,
and I don't know if we've seen anything like that before. This is like a first time.
Well, no,
like
you
that,
do.
maybe.
And I talked about it on the last episode. So I don't think it's been done with the type of bands that were playing that festival. No. But, I talked about a festival called Furnace Festival, it went on in the early 2000s and then it went away and they brought it back. And the reason they brought it back is they were like, well, what if we just put all of these fucking metal bands and hardcore bands and punk bands and post-hardcore bands from the fucking late 90s, early 2000s on a festival, and people would just freak out. And they do. And I wanted to go this year. It actually happened around on the weekend of my birthday.
Where at?
It's in Alabama, which is it's at like this old like factory type thing.
Okay.
Which is why it's called Furnace Fest. And it's done really well the last 2 years. And again, that I know it's two completely different things, but you said it hasn't been done before. I think we're going to start seeing it more. I won't be surprised if a new metal festival pops up in the near future.
That'd be cool.
Where you just fucking have Korn, Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach, POD, like all of the power new metal bands from back in the day.
Yeah.
Which would be great. And I think it would do well. I think like you get a lot of those bands on these festivals like Rock on the Range or Louder Than Life or, Rocklahoma or any of these festivals. But like you said, there are a lot of bands on there that get thrown on there to fill. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful by, calling those bands filler. They're not. They're good bands.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to Louder Than Life back in, 2014 or whatever. And one of the bands I wanted to see was Islander, which I really love. And they were playing at like fucking 10:45 on Saturday or Sunday, whichever day it was. And I got there on time and I felt so, people were watching them. They had a few hundred people. And then, Mikey from Islander goes on stage with POD on the main stage to do a song with them. And he's on stage in front of 10,000 people or whatever.
Right.
Like it's the difference is it, but I feel like when we were young, it's like everybody's getting the same pop. There was bigger and smaller stages and like bigger and smaller crowds, but I feel like the buzz was the same. And again, that was by design. And that's why it works so well. But I think that, I said this on the last episode, I think in the beginning, that's why people doubted it so much. They were like, this can't be true. Like, how are they like, this can't be true.
Right.
There's no way, And
so something I got to listen to some of the episode that we posted last week where you did solo.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Yeah. And not that it wasn't real, but like the festival itself making money. I think you had kind of skimmed over that fact. Like you think that it did fine. Like you think that, but from the outside looking in, that seems kind of crazy that they could, because you would think unless a lot of those bands didn't like get a lot of money for doing it just because they wanted to be on a festival like that, how much money do you think was invested in all of those bands to do that? How is it possible that could have pulled in a lot of money for the powers that be over it?
I think they made money for sure. It didn't help that day one was canceled. I think they made money. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely hurt. Do you think so? I know there was a lot of conspiracy that went on around the show. Do you think that people were really freaking out about that after that first day was canceled?
I'm sure there were, but I don't think you can go outside and feel the weather. Like
that's true.
If it's fucking too windy, it's too windy. Go outside. Like it's not a conspiracy, dickhead. Just walk outside. Yeah, like, right. What are you going on Twitter for? And calling bullshit on the festival. Go outside.
Well, I will say this. There's several people that I'm sure both of us are friends with on social media. Some people that have lived in St. Louis in the past or currently live in St. Louis that went out there. And I think every post that I've seen from all of those people, used the word perfect,
Yeah.
saying this was a perfect festival and it was executed perfectly.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. I mean, from what I've seen, it looked great. I don't, I would have to have been there to really give you, a solid opinion on that. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, it looked great.
So, so how does that work as far as, I mean, I don't know if you know how they sold tickets. I'm sure they probably did some kind of a package, or if you want to do like all 3 days, you could, or if you just wanted to do a single day, you could, or something like that. I mean, I guess, do they just give
Well, why would you do
refunds
all
on,
three
like,
days if
one
it's all the
ticket?
same bands?
Well, wasn't
That
that
was my
the,
whole point of like, I think like this was the plan all along.
yeah, but wasn't that the thing in the beginning? Because everybody was saying you can't see all the bands that you want to see if you just go one day.
I mean, that's festival life in
And I
2022.
understand that's a festival, but
But are you
if
really going to pay?
if they come out and say, well, this is a 3-day festival now, you could do all 3 days if you want, then maybe you do it if you want to see bands enough, and if bands aren't overlapping each other, while you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if people did that, more power to them. Spend your money. Shit, I don't know. I mean, I know people that did that for Warped Tour because they couldn't see, legitimate super fans of many bands couldn't see all the bands they wanted to see, so they would go to another city and then see the other bands see the bands that they didn't see in
Right.
that city, which is great. That's the kind of person you want following your band. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Again, I don't know if that was necessarily like a real thing or not. I think like with as many bands as they were offering on that festival, I think there were plenty you could like, I would say 6 to 10 that you could see that day that would make up for what you paid for the ticket.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My opinion. I don't know. Somebody might disagree, but that's just my opinion. But what's been really cool for me is just to see some of the videos the bands have posted and seeing the actual response that they got. I think it's fucking great, man. Like I said, Stories was just, I don't know. There's something about it. It just hit me. It hit me in a way. And I think it was because I saw those just randomly by chance after I showed my wife the music video for the new song.
Yeah.
Which she had not seen yet. She hadn't really heard the song either. She heard me play like snippets of it just in passing. And I commented to her, I was like, man, I'm not saying this to be, insulting, but I'm really surprised by the lack of views that this video has, because I think the song fucking killer. And I think the video is really good.
Well, I think a lot of that comes by the promo though, right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, it has like 200,000 views, which is good. They're not fucking Imagine Dragons. I get it. But I for some reason, I felt like it would have more. I don't know why. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part, but yeah, so I showed her that video, and then those videos came up randomly after the new song. What do you think about it?
Love it.
New Story song.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best songs, singles. I think it's one of the best singles they put out, honestly, since In the Wake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, did you like that last album, the
Wolves?
Wolves? Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I liked about Wolves.
Like Miracle and Bang Bang and those, I really liked those songs too.
Those are good songs, and it was a good record.
Yeah.
I think there were a few hidden gems on that record, but I don't think there was a song that immediately grabbed me like Tear Me to Pieces has. Yeah, I just think it's, and you know what's interesting, and I said this to my wife last night, maybe. Was it last night? The YouTube community has latched on to that video. The reaction community. And so there's this reaction. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but reacting how? I mean, in a positive way?
Yes. Okay,
yes, good.
Yes. But, there's a couple of channels that I follow that these guys never react to a Story of the Year. I mean, it's not like Story's putting out constant songs, but like I've never heard them mention them. But constantly Beartooth, A Day to Remember, all the big bands. A couple of these channels reacted to it. And one of the ones I like, it's these two Australian dudes. They're so funny because they're Australian, and it's just like everything they say comes with that accent. And it's like, are they shitting on them? Or they're happy? Like, it's hard to tell. Like it's like endearing, but at the same time snarky. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
They reacted to it, and I was super surprised. Like, it was one of the first things that came up in my YouTube feed, and I was like, oh shit, wow, Story's getting like, but to me, that's huge, because that means that that sound, that song is catching on to the younger generation.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just how I feel about that's the way that I see that. That's the way I perceive that.
But it's interesting to wonder how it's doing that. Like why, like what is getting that into younger generations' ears, or unless it's just the aspect of streaming.
Well, I think it's just a kick-ass song.
I mean,
honestly,
it is, but like, okay, so I know we talked about so like Papa Roach when he did that thing with like Jairus Johnson, which I know you weren't a fan of, but we also talked about how kind of that was a way for him to kind of cross over into a little bit of the younger generation because Jairus Johnson's, of course, like a TikTok star or whatever.
Right.
So he has that way of getting into the younger ears. But I'm wondering what makes Story of the Year song get that same way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me tell you what I mean by what I said. So I said it's just a catchy song, right? Or whatever I said. It is, but I think they're on a good record label. And I think they're on a good record label that knows how to target those algorithms and those demographics.
Gotcha.
Again, just guessing. I don't know this to be, I'm not speaking like it's matter of fact. I'm just saying this is my opinion, but that is my opinion. Based on the other bands that are on that record label and how successful they are and how many views they get and the reaction they get online, I think that has a lot to do with it, which is great.
It does, but it and you, like you said, you no disrespect at all, but you kind of wish that they were getting more viewership because that song's been out for what, a month now, probably.
No, it hasn't been a month. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm thinking of the other one, the single before that.
And see, I mean, that song's good, but one of the things that these dudes talked about, these reaction channels talked about, they were like, why didn't they put this one out first? Tear Me to Pieces. Like, why the fuck? And then they were like, well, strategically, this is actually a good move because the record doesn't come out until the spring. So like you had your sort of, we'll call the first single a Story of the Year single.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I agree with them. It's a Story of the Year song. Not bad.
Yeah.
But it's not, I'm just going to stop there. It's not bad. It's a good song. But with this song, it just, for me and to me, to me, it speaks to the younger generation for some reason. I was saying this to my wife and she was like nodding her head, like agreeing with me, but I was like, you don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, do you? She's like, no, I do. I'm like, no, you don't. You're just fucking agreeing with me to shut me up. Like, but that's how I feel. I don't know.
Okay.
What the fuck do I know?
Did you have you been to, so they filmed that music video at Skate Laborious, right?
Yeah, and that building is so great.
Used to be a church, right? Wasn't it like Saint Laborious before?
I mean, I guess I've never been there, and you know, we talked about that as well. I was like, why have we not seen a music video? What dumbasses have not shot a music video in this place before they did?
You want to know who did?
Oh, somebody did?
Yeah.
Oh, who did?
I will double check myself on this because I might have to cut it out, but I'm pretty sure Discrepancies did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. Like I said, I'll double check that and cut it out if it's not right, but I'm pretty sure they did. It probably, like you said, it probably has to do with the algorithms and, getting it to, but I mean, I know there's a lot more that goes into that than me and you have any idea about, on what's interesting to me is like targeting an audience with a certain song. Like, like that record label has to be like, well, I bet this song, because of the sound and all the things that go along with it, I bet we could target this age group, this age demographic with this song. And then be able to, go on across social medias and target those groups and stuff like that. That's pretty interesting stuff.
Oh, I was just thinking about this the other day. I'm so glad you said that. What you just said, now we have algorithms that can target like for the fans of such and such. Like if you're a fan of this band, you're going to like this band. You know what that used to be? CD labeling. Right? You would go into a store. I know you can't see it. You can't read it. It's really small, but I just want you to see that I have a CD in my hand. That's wrapped still. I haven't opened this.
Okay.
This is a Bury Your Dead CD. Okay. So you used to go and I used to do this. I used to spend 2 hours sometimes in a fucking record store looking for labels that said this. So this is a Bury Your Dead record. Okay.
Okay.
It's It's called It's Nothing Personal. It came out, oh fuck. When did this come out? 2009. Jesus Christ. So
You
anyway,
haven't opened it? You
no, I
just
haven't
want
opened it. I have tons of these that I haven't opened because listen,
it's
man.
it's like a
I
collector's
buy
item for you.
music. Huh?
It's like a collector's item for you. That's
Yes,
why
it
you
is.
haven't
And
opened
I
it?
buy
Okay, cool.
music, and this is why.
Cool.
So listen. So
Okay.
this was our algorithm back in the day. You would go to a store and you would look for labels like this. So it says "Bury Your Dead." It's Nothing Personal for fans of Disturbed, Hatebreed, Slipknot, and Lamb of God.
Well, that's cool.
As seen on stage with Ozfest, Family Values Tour, Music as a Weapon Tour, and more. I would go into a store and look for labels like that. And I
Okay.
would go, oh, I like Hatebreed. Maybe I'll like this band. Oh, I like Story of the Year. Maybe I'll like this band. That was our algorithm. And you know what? It was a better fucking time. All right. That's all.
A better fucking time that didn't reach near as many people.
Correct. But it was fun. But it was fun. And it was a social thing. You went into the record store, you met some other dickhead who had spent way too long there, and he was like, "What are you getting?" I'm like, "I got the fucking Bury Your Dead." He's like, "Oh shit, I got the fucking the Madball." I'm like, "Oh shit, really?" He's like, "You don't know who Madball is, do you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he would call me a fag, and then we fucking fight. You know, it was a whole thing. It was a social experiment. So anyway, yeah, it was a social experiment, and it was a thing. And it,
I mean, you know, it's funny though, is that that's streaming in general now. No matter, like, not just music, that's everything. Because you're also talking about like going into Blockbuster back in the day, you know, to find a movie, or if you like this movie, you might like this movie because it had this actor in it or something, you know, same concept. It's I don't know, man, it's just a different time and it's not as cool. It's not as fun.
It's not as fun. Well, look, like, you get accused of like sounding old when you do this, but so like, I'm glad this came up. So like the other day, so in our neighborhood, we have this like little strip, this little block of mom and pop stores and stuff.
Okay.
Mom and pop. So first of all, we have a record store, which is it's awesome. It's the last of its kind. It's a dying. I mean, the fact that they're still there is insane.
What do you mean by last of its kind? Like, because there's several other record stores in St. Louis, right?
Not many.
What's left? There's Music Record Shop.
Which one? Which one are you talking about?
I think that's what it's called, right? Music Record Shop. And then what's the other one down by Blueberry Hill, or not Blueberry
Vintage
Hill?
Vinyl.
The Duck Room. Right?
Vintage Vinyl.
Yeah. Okay.
Vintage Vinyl.
Yeah.
So this place is like a Vintage Vinyl. Anyway, but it's in my neighborhood. So like,
okay.
There's that. There's like a little like craft shop and like a furniture shop, and so every time we walk by there, I think like, man, who destroyed these places? Like, which corporation is solely responsible for destroying pretty much all of these kinds of mom and pop, like sort of community driven businesses? It's like Walmart. Is it Walmart? Is it Target? It's probably Walmart. If you think about the idea of the fact that like people were like, you know what, I'm going to stop going to the mom and pop place and I'm going to start going to Walmart. It's like, well, you're going to save 16 cents on a broom. Like,
I mean, you're not saying the obvious one, which is Amazon.
Well, I was trying to avoid it. I was trying to stay away from the internet. I was trying to like still like brick and mortar, like you still go into a place. Right. But
what I'm saying is, you're saying like what's killed these mom and pop shops off? It's convenience, right? Now, and because it's not like, we're not in a time now where it's cool to just spend a Saturday going into a record shop and just looking at thousands of records and find the one that you want. That's not a thing anymore, because I can go to Amazon and order it and have it tomorrow.
But that took you 16 seconds.
I know.
But what's fun about that?
Right.
And you don't meet people. You don't like, there's no human element, human interaction. Like, did you ever, you might be too young for this, but like, did you ever have maybe not because you live in the sticks, but like the mom and pop video store?
There was a couple around me. Yeah.
Dude, we had one. My parents' house where I grew up, we had one, and they had like the beaded door. Like there were beads and then a door, and like, oh, that's the porn room. We'd always just stare at that door. Like,
they had that in a mom and pop place.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude. Oh fuck yeah, dude.
You know that mom and pop were pervs, right?
So many creepy men coming out of there. Like I'm trying to get fucking Little Rascals or fucking Rookie of the Year, and like this guy comes out with just 2 fucking fistfuls of porn. Yeah. But the thing about that place is they were a community driven place. They got to know their customers.
Yeah.
So if you would rent, okay, in the spirit of what time it is right now, if you would rent Halloween, okay, you bring it back a week later, like, oh, cool. By the way, I think you like horror. You should rent Monkey Shines or Night of the Demons or something like that. We just got it in, but whatever. And I'm gonna guess that of the 3 movies I just said, you've only seen 1.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. All right. So like, but that was the whole thing about places like that. It was a community thing.
Right.
Which, goddamn, we just don't have. We have a community garden right across the street from me. It's a community. So it's a community garden, and then like a community. I don't know what you would call it, like food bank or whatever. So they give people from the area can just come up and get free food. People
Nice.
donate food. They give food to the people. Places like that, they scare people at this point. When I was growing up, they were a common fucking thing.
Yeah.
Community places and community ideas, and like they were a common thing. But places like that, and it's literally like this window right here. I mean, I could look at it from my window. Actually, no, it's the window over there. Sorry. But they scare people. And it's weird. It's and I actually had this conversation with someone the other day. We were talking about Austin. It was a coworker of mine who still travels. They got offered an Austin trip and they turned it down. And I think it was just like bad timing. I don't think it was anything like I don't like Austin, but we got talking about Austin the last time I was there, and we brought up like the homeless situation there and just homeless situations in general. And I was like, yeah, it's so bizarre because like homelessness is widely accepted more than a community garden. Like the community garden and the community food bank that gives food to people who need it is more intimidating to the people in the community than a homeless person. Now, I'm not saying that the homeless person should intimidate you, but there's a more accepted version of the two, right?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of
very strange.
It's kind of like the trust factor though, too, right? Like nowadays you kind of have to worry, where is that food like coming from? Has anybody tampered with this?
Well, there's that, of
before
course.
before I ingest it. But I think it goes back to like the whole, you would never let your kid just leave for the entire day and have no idea where they are until it's dinner time. That's what we used to do. There's no way we'd let our kids do that anymore.
Dude, I'd be gone for days. Days. Nobody was looking for me. There's not a flyer. I'm not on a milk carton. There's no like nobody's looking for me. I'm joking. When I was a teenager, I would do that.
I guess that's not a thing anymore either. I mean, I know the milk carton thing itself isn't a thing anymore, but I guess like it's just social media now, right? And the news for like if a kid's missing or something.
Yeah. I mean, why would you need a milk carton when you have social media?
Something instant.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, speaking of social media in St. Louis, and we don't have to get too much into this, but what are your thoughts on the shooting that happened here?
I honestly don't know a lot about it. I've read a little bit of a few articles on the situation. Do you have a lot of information on it to give me?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, no, I mean,
I know they're saying that there was a lot, which we've heard before, but they're saying that the person who did it, if you go back and look at their recent social media, a lot of it is guns and
it was the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall.
I
don't know. I don't know what to do to fix this. I mean, I don't want to just say taking guns away from everyone is the key.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's a part of the solution.
Yeah.
Will it work?
No. Mental illness is still there.
Work.
Yeah, mental illness is still there.
Correct. And I said this to my wife. I said, look, and do I think anyone should be able to go get an AR-15? No. There's no need for that, dude.
Right.
Should we have handguns to keep at home in the 1 millionth, 100 millionth percentage of a chance that someone breaks in and you have to, yes, and I own guns. That's, that's it. I don't own fucking anything that I could go blow a bunch of people away with, you know.
Yeah, I think you, in my personal opinion, not to get too deep into it, but my personal opinion is I think you should be able to have a handgun to keep at your house. I mean, or multiple if you want multiple, whatever.
Or on, or
Just in
concealed.
case of that issue, but also have a gun if you're a hunter. Like be able to have a gun that you would actually take to the woods to try to shoot a deer.
Well, let me
Or,
tell you
or
something,
something.
man.
Not anything like an AR-15 that you have no reason to have that. Like
Here's what a lot of
just
people
shoot
don't
nothing.
understand though. Like, if you if you fuck with somebody who's a hunter and they know guns and they have a hunting rifle, you're fucked.
I mean, that's true.
No, for real. People
Yeah.
don't learn to shoot with handguns.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't learn target shooting. You don't learn trigger control with handguns.
Yeah.
You learn it with rifles.
Yeah.
So like, and I have both, but to be honest with you, I'd much rather have a rifle than my fucking 22 pistol if someone broke into my house. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Guns and mental health. I said this to my wife. I go, we can take away all the guns we want, but if you have a person who's mentally ill, like that person was, they're going to find a way to get a gun.
Yeah.
Which makes this an even more difficult thing to solve. It's the same thing with the war on drugs. You want to outlaw drugs. You want to say that heroin's illegal. You want to say that cocaine's illegal. You want to say that crack is illegal, meth. People find a way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the same thing with guns.
But the hard thing about that is like the opposite side of that is, okay, well, make it all legal. And then hopefully less people will want to do it because it's not you know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
They're never going to legalize all those drugs because
I understand that, but I'm saying like the opposite side of that would be.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I know that argument, but it's like with guns, you do what you want with them, but people are going to find a way to get them.
Let me ask you this, and this is just popping in my head. And if I'm missing something, I really, no disrespect at all, but when was the last time we've seen like a shooting by an adult? Like now I'm not talking like a sniper situation. I'm talking like the shootings that we see by kids.
I mean, this person was technically an adult.
How old were they?
19.
19. Okay.
I mean, say what you want.
Yeah. I'm just saying
say what you want. But yeah, I'm with you. I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying like, is this more of a children these days scenario of mental health?
It's mental health for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Go to all of these shootings. It's mental health. Absolutely 100. It's not deniable at this point.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying like, is it more of on the children now? Like the younger generation versus the older generation?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think the only thing that's changed is the level at which they get to see and feel and experience the output from their peers and the output from adults and the output from their authority figures because of social media and because of the way that everything is done through the internet. And, by design, everything about everyone. We talked about this a couple episodes. Everything about everyone. Whereas when we were talking about Euphoria, when I was talking about like, all the sex and the drugs and everything that happens in that show, it's like, I saw that in high school. We just didn't have social media and we didn't have everything to talk about it. We didn't have texting. We didn't have, so I think with that mental health aspect comes the idea that these people are constantly being fed information and hate and negativity and counter ideas that are countering their own and so on and so forth. Now, some people can handle it. Some people can't, and that's what we're seeing. It's not just bullying too. Like I don't like bullying. I'm anti-bullying, trust me. But like, it's not the bullying is one aspect of it. There's much more that goes into that than just bullying.
Yeah.
It's the constant flow of information that kids have to deal with on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's coming from angles that we never had to deal with when we were kids.
never.
Yeah.
You know you seen The Wedding Singer?
Yeah.
You remember this scene where the Adam Sandler walks in the house and the two little kids come running up to him and they were like, "You're gonna go to a, or you're on the verge of a nervous breakdown." He's like, "Who said that?" He's like, "Everybody's been saying that." He's like, "What do you mean everybody's been saying that? You're 8. You only know your parents." Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a good point. Yeah.
as a kid, I didn't know many other people other than my parents and my neighbors. Like, so yeah, dude, it's a bummer. But so like with the shooting, yeah, I mean, there's a lot coming out about it now, but apparently the writing was on the wall with this dude. And actually a friend of mine who I grew up with, her kids go to that school.
Oh, really?
Her son was on the same floor as the shooter. Made
Oh
it
my
out.
God.
Yeah. I just texted her. I was texting her about 2 hours before we started, just checking in on her. And it was fucking, I mean, dude, I'll say this, and you know, we don't need to get too deep into this aspect of it, but when it was going on, I said, you know, it's so funny that all of my fellow St. Louisans who are so defund the police friendly aren't saying shit now, are they?
Right.
They're not saying shit now, along with our fucking mayor, who very publicly has stated that she's going to defund the police force in St. Louis, but she's not saying shit now, is she?
Right.
And I said that if this happened anywhere else outside of the city limits, it would have been worse. It would have been worse. And now, again, this is just my opinion, but I said to my wife, and I said, when she got home that day, I go, "Please tell me the shooter's not white." And I go, "No disrespect to anybody. I'm sorry. I know this sounds terrible. Please tell me the shooter's not white." Because if the shooter were white, going into a primarily person of color school, blowing away people, I'd be like, this city's going to explode. The city's going to blow up. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
real. And I know that's a shitty way to think, but I'm just trying to be, you know.
Well, I guess it adds another aspect to it too of racism that we haven't ever seen that in that kind of a scenario.
You don't see it a lot, man. You
I mean,
don't.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say you don't ever. I mean, I'm
You
saying
don't see it a lot.
most of the time we just chalk it up to mental health, but
Mass shootings are committed by white men.
yeah, for the most part.
White teens, white men. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, in a setting like that, however, when you go into an inner city like St. Louis or Chicago or Detroit or Baltimore, they happen all the time, but those are reduced to just street crime or gang violence, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Those should be called mass shootings and they should be treated the same fucking way.
Yeah.
And we talked about this around like when the fucking, you know, George Floyd riots were happening. We talked about this before, but it's like, why do we not treat them the same way? Is it because of who's getting killed or who's doing the killing or where it's at? It's like, fuck you. Like, people are dying, treat it the same fucking way.
But I mean, what in the prevention process, what do you do? I mean, do we put, you know, security in every single school across
That
the
school is
nation?
heavily secured. Metal detectors, lots of security guards.
Okay, so how did he get the gun through?
He used to go there and he knew how to get into a window or a door or something.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
You'll have to like fact check me on that, but it's something like that. I remember reading that, but yeah.
Okay.
He was a dude that went to that school and he knew a way to get in.
Okay.
Could he have had help? Sure. It's possible, but it's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, thankfully, and I hate saying this, it was only 2.
Yeah.
It could have been so much more.
Wasn't it? It was a woman that was getting ready to retire, I think, right? And then like it was a 16-year-old girl or something. Am I right?
16-year-old girl and then a teacher. And the teacher, for what everyone is saying, like threw herself in front of the students.
That's what I heard too. Well, was this a large school that it happened at?
No, it's a performing arts school, so like smaller classes, and you know.
Okay.
But
and talk about religion next. That might be a good.
Well, we should probably shouldn't. Well, yeah, let's do that. So Kanye.
No. I did want to touch on, so the last episode that we had together, we talked about the Redeem Team, and I hadn't seen it yet. and you
Oh, yeah.
basically you told me, you're gonna love this because it is basically a Kobe story. And dude, the one scene that you pointed out, like, I don't know if it sent chills through my spine because you had told me about it. I knew it was coming, or what. But that scene where
When he
Kobe
trucked
runs through Pau
Yeah,
Gasol
yeah.
and says it beforehand, like,
It's
I'm gonna do
cold-blooded,
this.
dude.
The look on Pau's face when he's laying on the ground is just like, what the fuck?
You know what that
just
look was? He's like, "Oh fuck, we're gonna lose this game." That's what that was.
Yeah.
Like, he sent a message at the beginning of the game, like, "You fuckers are not winning this game." That
Yeah.
is pretty crazy.
But what a way to send a message to your team, like the guys you're
Oh,
playing
yeah.
with. Like, listen, this is my brother, and he is on my team in the NBA, not here.
Well, to be honest with you, man, on that team, Kobe was the only like cold-blooded assassin on that team that would do something like that. No one
He
else
is-
on that team would do that.
He doesn't, but I wonder how truthful they were being about, like, because was it Carmelo Anthony and a couple other guys were talking about how, like, at the end of the day, they're all getting together and they're getting dressed up and they're going to go out. And they asked Kobe, and Kobe's like in his workout gear. He's going down to the gym. And then they talk, like, and then by 2 days later, all the guys are in the gym with them at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I hope that's true.
I mean, but they're playing it off like Kobe just had this, like, everybody gravitated to what Kobe was doing because they realized this guy's real. And
Yeah.
I really hope that's what happened. I hope they weren't just like putting it on for a show in this documentary.
I mean, well, look, dude, those stories about Kobe were there long before this documentary. So,
yeah, true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one, dude. You know what? I tried to finish, and I tried to finish Dahmer. I can't.
I haven't even started it.
I watched 2 more episodes, and I looked at my wife. I said, "I can't. This is a bummer." She's like, "Yeah, I can't believe you turned it back on." I'm like, "Oh, I thought we wanted to finish it." She's like, "No, I'm good." I'm like, "Okay, me too." I tried. It's too gross. It's just maybe if it were fiction, maybe it were not based on a real story. It would be different.
That's the thing, man. Like, the documentaries about, like, serial killers and stuff. I know, like, there's people out there who just absolutely eat that up. They love watching those. I just like the thing that it's all real, like this all happened, is really freaky in the first place. But it's just like, why isn't it enough just to know what they did and not have to see everything about it?
Yeah, why do we? Yeah. I'm
like,
with you.
Like John Wayne Gacy and Dahmer and these brutal serial killers that you just tell me what happened and I'm like, all right, well, that sucks. I don't need to know any more information about this now.
Yeah. Oh, he ate 26 people. Cool. Let's not talk about it anymore because that's gross. I don't know. Oh, he killed and buried 102 women. Sweet. Let's not talk about it anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I'm not gonna lie though, the Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron was pretty good.
That was good. I did watch that. Yeah.
Pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
That shit's got to take a toll though, right? Like on the actor themselves. I mean, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to be behind the camera on like a set on something like that, but I know when it comes to dark parts like that, a lot of actors have to live that, like really live that in their mind to make that character come to life.
I mean, Heath Ledger died shortly after The Dark Knight.
Right. And that wasn't even like a serial killer movie. That was just a dark character.
Well, he played a sadistic motherfucker.
He did, but yeah, to know you have to get in, like you have to get into being that person to make it believable to people.
Yeah. I like when it comes to the serial killers, the documentaries I'm okay with because those are, it's interesting to see, go back and see how the whole thing was treated by the police and stuff. Sometimes that's interesting, but with this Dahmer show, it's just gross. And I told you on the last time we talked about it, it was like, yeah, I think they're going to get more into his childhood and the dad, and I like the person playing the dad, and I'm like, no, he's just a gross cunt raised by gross cunts. I just don't need to watch this anymore. For real, like it's just like, what are we doing? So
you said you finished Welcome to Wrexham. or you got through?
Yeah, I watched it all.
Are they still posting more videos or episodes or no?
No, it's done, but they're going to do obviously another season.
They are into another season. Okay.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds posted something on Twitter about it too.
Okay. So what give me your opinion. I've only watched 2 more episodes since we talked last, but give me your opinion on the rest of it. I wouldn't say I almost turned it off, but I was not interested. I see why they did it. I guess it was the episode where they were explaining what Wales was and all that. Like it was,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was weird. Like they did the whole Sports Center,
Yeah, that was a little bit
thing and
weird.
all that. I was just like, I'm not really interested in that. I'm hoping it picks back up in the next few episodes. I get why they did it because you want to give the backstory behind Wales.
You want to
Because
let Ryan Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds, and it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, there's that. I don't know. I feel like Rob McElhenney wasn't Rob McElhenney in that episode. Like he
Yeah,
was just
well-
acting. He was just acting to fill the spot and trying to be funny, kind of.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. Like, it's a good show, and I'm looking forward to watching more of it. I'm curious to see how it plays out, because I think if you watch the show, you learn how near and dear and how much value and how special these teams are to these communities, to these cities, especially the one that they bought. This isn't a big place we're talking about.
Right.
So like you almost in a way get the sense as you're watching it, like, when is it going to turn? When are the
Yeah.
people going to turn on these two guys who,
Which
and it's not really,
they kind of did in that one episode. Like when
Yeah,
when they came out, when they actually went to the game, when they were there and they went to the game, when they came out, they were getting booed.
yeah. Well, look, I mean, that's sports though. That's different than.
I mean, but do you think they were getting booed because of the team, or do you think they were getting booed because it's like, we don't believe in you, that you're just too.
Well, wasn't that the game
actors?
after Paul Mullen got suspended?
Maybe.
So I think that was what the booing was about,
Okay.
more so than them.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were up in the owner's box and Paul Mullen was up there sitting with them.
Okay.
Again, like, I think, like, when you watch it, you're just going to go, when are they going to turn on these guys?
Yeah.
And it's never really explained why they bought
That's
this. They try to explain it. They try to give a logical explanation as to, well, besides the fact that we have the money to do it and we thought it would be fun and we understand the importance of sports in a town like yours, but it's like, well, why here?
Right.
Right? Like, why would you go into a lose-lose situation and spend a bunch of money?
In a sport that neither one of them really had,
Never a fan of.
weren't ever a fan of. It's like there's got to be something behind the scenes that they're not talking about on why they
And
thought.
I think we're going to
this
see it in
venture
season 2.
Yeah, on why they thought this
think.
venture was the right way to go.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Now I'm going to buy a fucking Welsh club team. It's like, well, what? Why? And Ryan Reynolds is like, well, I'm Deadpool and snarky, so I should just buy a team too. Like,
I wonder, and this might sound dumb, but I wonder if the documentary was a part of this the entire time. Like from the get-go, they thought we could make money off of this just by putting out a documentary about following us through this process.
Well, they definitely brought some the one thing to know for those that haven't seen this, and you'll see this if you watch the show, they definitely brought some revenue into the team for the team and into the city by bringing in the corporate sponsorships that they, like TikTok, like they're wearing TikTok jerseys.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't fucking Bob's Lumber. Like, this is TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So like they're doing things to better the situation. But again, is it their situation to improve? Which
Right.
I think we're gonna find out. I like it. I'm into it. But dude, I'll watch any fucking sports documentary, sports show. My friend just texted me, who, by the way, it's so shocking. He's a total like sneakerhead. Like, is my friend that lived in Brooklyn. He lives in Chicago now. And I never knew this about him. I've known him fucking 15 years. So like we did an episode where I think it was when, like, you remember the Bubba Wallace shit? Or who was the driver who had the noose at the garage?
Oh, I don't remember who it
What was
was.
that
Now,
guy's name?
man, that was a long time ago. Dude, I don't
Was his name
remember.
Bubba Wallace? Did I just make that up?
That might be right. I mean, that's
Anyway.
definitely a driver, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So like when we did that episode, I said something in the episode like, "Hey, can they just stop being like, can NASCAR fans stop being so predictable?" Because I was like, everyone's a right wing fucking redneck, fucking like everything is just so predictable. And then a different buddy of mine DM'd me after listening to the episode. He's like, "By the way, Johnny is a fucking NASCAR fan." I'm like, "You're fucking bullshitting me." He's like, "Nope, dude. Text him right now. He's a total net. He knows everything about Indy. He knows everything about Formula One. He knows everything about NASCAR. And he's not, he's like a total progressive, liberal, like whatever." But he just texted me. He goes, "Did you know Brad Doherty is a NASCAR team owner?" I'm like, "No, fucker. I didn't know that. Why would I know that?" Brad Doherty played for the Cavs. So I guess that was the connection he made there. But like, no, I don't
Okay.
know that. I don't fucking know that shit.
Man, who's going back and listening? Are they just now listening to those episodes?
No, this happened way back when. I just never talked about it. I just never talked about it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Before we talk about Halloween, and I don't know what we're going to talk about with Halloween, but
We'll come up with something.
I don't know. I know last year I talked about trick-or-treating. I was like, who the fuck ruined trick-or-treating? But dude, Dayseeker. I'm telling you, man, I've never been this geeked about a band's music in a long time. And I know
I didn't
I
know
just
this
talked
band
about Story
existed.
and their song, but like, dude, I'm telling you, I've not been this excited. I've not been this attached to a band's music in a long time. Beartooth, well, I should, but it was recently Beartooth, but Beartooth is like Beartooth. It's heavy, it's poppy, it's got all the feels. This is just, for me, it's a thing. It's like one thing that they're doing, and they're doing it perfectly so far. Anyway, I'll shut up. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I didn't know this band existed until you, I think, just posted it on social media. Most of the time when you post something on social media, like a band or a certain song or something, I'll go check it out.
You're like, who's that?
I instantly clicked with this band though. I really do like them. And I don't know if we've talked about them much on the show besides talking about like the one episode where we talked about them playing in the studio and it just sounding too perfect.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
I hated doing that, but I still love that song.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but like they've got some pretty dark lyrics. I mean, I guess you could consider them dark. Like that song Neon Grave. You had told me that it was about his dad passing away. And man, the lyrics are dark because talking about you cheated death before, and basically what does it feel like when your eyes roll back and everything goes black? Like Jesus, man. You know,
he's and I know I talk about lyrics and how I don't pay attention, but no, he's a good lyricist. He's a good writer, and I don't know who helps him, but like whether it's production or he's the guy.
But his voice matches the lyric. If that's even a thing, his voice matches the lyrics really well.
No, it's all coming from a place, dude.
Yeah,
it's all coming from. You're right. You're right. It does. I don't know how to explain it other than like, it's all coming from a real place, and he's emoting it and he's executing it so well. Like I said, like with Beartooth, I felt the same way. When I listened to the Disease record and then the last one they put out, I was like, man, this dude's on fire. Like everything he writes is just like fucking poppy and catchy, but still like dark, and like it gets you feeling something, and the lyrics are good. And it's the same thing with this band these 3 songs that they put out thus far. Well, 4 songs now. But
I mean, not to go too far into the lyric thing, but because I know you're not a really big lyric fan, but
I do love lyrics, man. I joke.
I don't think when I was younger, I don't think lyrics mattered to me, or that I really paid attention to them near as much as I do now. Like
I think they mattered to me more when I was younger.
Really? See, here's why I say that the opposite. This morning, while I was driving to work, I decided to put on the 1X album by 3 Days Grace.
Yeah.
I never really cared about what the lyrics were back when that album came out. I've always loved the album, but I never paid attention to it. I was really listening to the lyrics on my way to work this morning. And I mean, I know that it was all about drug use. and stuff, but like it's deep. Like that whole album is very deep.
Did you say 1X or Life Starts Now?
No, 1X.
Okay. Yeah, no, yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna say if you said Life Starts Now, it just made me think like what I talked about earlier with the stickers. Life Starts Now,
Oh, nice.
signed by the band, but there's a sticker on it. New album from 30 Days Grace, the highly anticipated follow-up to the platinum album 1X, features Break. Like again, you look for those things. Like
Yeah.
this is our fucking algorithm. Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no, that was a heavy album for sure. Yeah, I used to like, I think when I was a kid, I just got attached to lyrics more because, dude, I would fucking lock myself in my room and listen to fucking Tupac and fucking Outkast and Scarface and like all these fucking hip hop artists. And it's just like, I would just be like I'm, stupid white kid sitting in my room listening to this shit. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I still appreciate them. I joke again. It's just my writing process. I just come with like, I don't overthink lyrics, I guess is the way that I do it. I just come with an idea and I go with it. Now I want it to be cohesive and I want it to make sense, but like some of like, not to get too much into this, but like some of my favorite lyrics that I've ever written were ones that I never thought about. They just happened.
Yeah.
They were spontaneous. It was like organic, like they just happened. Like it was just an idea that came to me and I stuck with it. I didn't change it. I didn't edit. I didn't do anything. And those are my favorites. There are songs that, I know that people like, but I know how long it took to get those songs done and how many fucking times I changed stuff. And it pisses me off because I just go back to those moments. Like I hated writing this, but anyway, Dayseeker, I don't know. They've struck a chord with me. They've hit a stride. I don't know. Do you got that song queued up? I want to point something out to you with this new song.
Crying While You're Dancing.
So terrible with fucking song titles, dude. On the last episode, I was talking about Blink-182, and I was like, yeah, that one dude from Alkaline Trio. And I'm like,
oh yeah,
how do I not know? Like, I was just like, I'm fucking terrible. Like, why do I even talk? Like, at this point, just shut up. Yeah, Crying While You're Dancing.
I don't love you anymore.
Can you pause it real quick? So that right there, for me, now again, I'm a big pop fan. I'm a big new wave fan. That to me feels like it would be in a John Hughes movie from the 1980s.
Uh-huh.
Like you picture like the dude walking across the field at the end of Breakfast Club or something. Like it is just emotionally perfect for like creating like an idea for the listener. Go on. I'm being a nerd. It's so good. Pause. That's one of the best opening lines of any song I've heard in a long time, vocally. Like that is so good.
What do you mean though? Like
it's just catchy. It's just fucking everything about it is perfect.
Okay.
It closes well. It opens well. It's just like everything about it is perfect.
Yeah.
And I again, coming from someone who writes vocals, like I hate writing verses because they're the meaningless part of the song where you like start well enough to get to the hook, that right there, what he just did could be a hook in a different song. It's just good, dude. It's just so good. Gone. Sorry. Again, I'm nerding up. And he follows it up with a great line, and lyrically speaking, even better. Listen to the lyrics in this next line. Love it. Look at yourself in the mirror. Great pre-chorus. Distorted, but I see it clearer. Life of the party when you're crying while you're dancing.
I love how hard the chorus hits too.
Yeah,
Like-
well, dude, they're playing downtune shit. Like that's again like what you just said, and this is why it catches people. And I think what is brilliant about bands like them today is they're finding a way, or bands that do what they're try to do what they're doing. It's like bring in this poppy, dancey, sort of get you in the feels type pop music, and then come in with this feeling of like, oh shit just dropped. Like I was taken to another level. It's because of the down-tuned guitars and like, yeah, you're right. Dude, it's a great, like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play more of this? Or you done with this?
I don't know. Do you want me to geek out some more? Or we, dude,
Maybe.
people go check it out.
Maybe. I mean,
It's
this
so good.
This though is why I always say like lyrics affect me more because there's a story that is being told here.
100%.
And I know you can say that about any song for any band. Most bands, there's a story being told, but it's not like this.
Yeah,
and not only are you being attached to what the storyline is in it and trying to really hear what the lyrics are, it's also the music is perfect in the ups and downs, and leading into the chorus to where when the chorus hits, you're like, oh my God, like not only is the storyline hitting me, but I'm feeling it too because of the music.
Yeah, no, they do it. They take you there, man. That's the kind of music that I love, man. There are several bands that are my favorite bands that are able to do that. They, however, for some reason, just from a pop perspective, are just doing it so well where I'm just like, it's catching me in a different way. But yeah, with telling the story, man, I value that because I'm not, and again, this is just, for me, I don't write that way necessarily. I write from a perspective thing. So like typically what I do when I'm writing like a song, lyrically speaking, I'll like start from the point of view of either myself or someone else. And then the chorus shifts to that person or back to me and vice versa. So eventually when we get to the end of the song, everybody's involved. Like that's typically how I do it.
Okay.
But a lot of the times I'm writing to myself. Like the message is to me, right?
Yeah.
So like on the last song I put out, I just have they're very simple lyrics, but the pre-chorus of each, I have two pre-choruses, but so the first one is we got to get this right. We got to get our own tonight. We got to get this right. We got to live a better life. We pronouns, right? So then the next one, it's you got to get this right. You got to get your own tonight. You got to get, so like eventually I've shifted from forget the other person. I'm talking to me now, right? That's typically how I do stuff like that. And now it's subtle and maybe people don't notice it or maybe people think it's not fucking good. In my head, that's where I'm at. In my headspace, like I'm constantly wanting to teach the lesson to myself.
I mean, that's going to make me think of music differently. Like when I hear, because nothing off the top of my head, but I know there's a lot of songs that I've heard where it does come from that. Like it's a perspective of, it's either the perspective at the beginning is you, and then it's me, and then it's us, or vice versa. It's me, and then it's you, and then it's us.
You know who was really good about that? And they often got criticized for it?
Who's that?
Linkin Park.
Okay. Yeah.
All of their hooks were either I wanna, we gotta, you do it. You wait, and they often got criticized for that because people thought it was simplistic, but I'm like, no. They're choosing the pronoun wisely based on what the verse lyrics were and the pre-chorus lyrics were, and I always looked up to them for that. And they were definitely an influence on me when it came to that.
Okay. So have you heard the song Dream State by Dayseeker?
I own it.
Oh, okay. So I got this queued up. I'm going to play it. I want to play just the very beginning of it because I have a question that goes back to the tracks. Okay, so first off, that's an awesome beginning to a song.
Great.
But when it comes to tracks and things like that, or going back to the Ronnie Radke thing where they lost their laptops and stuff.
Right.
could they not do the beginning? Could Dayseeker, if they were in the same situation, not be able to do the beginning of this song because of that? Like, I think keyboard comes in at a certain point, but at the beginning of this, it sounds like synth or whatever the word is.
No, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there were ways to do it. I look, yeah, there are several ways to do it. I don't know. You'd have to talk to them. I think it's how comfortable are they. Like, you could give the tracks to the sound guy, and you could have had to have rehearsed them on time and rely on the sound guy to have them queued up,
Mhm.
which is a very old way of doing it. And I don't think anyone does it that way anymore, to be honest
Right.
with you.
Right.
But I don't know.
Gotcha. I also, while I was looking here, so I'm on YouTube and I'm looking at on the comments on the Dream State song. So the very first comment, I'm not ready for the emotional toll this album will have on my heart. Each song has conveyed each step of the struggles so perfectly, and I'm patiently waiting for the last song on this album.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like, I haven't heard a bad or seen a bad comment on any of this.
Well, I'm sure they're out there, but I mean, yeah,
I'm sure they are, but it's cool, like, just to see people attaching themselves to it.
I'll tell you another thing I like about the band, and I said this to my wife last night, and it's going to sound silly, but I think to me, it means something. But so I think with this sound that they're creating with these songs, they're bringing a certain sort of image to it as well, and they're not afraid to do it. And I kind of like that.
Image meaning what?
Like the way they dress, the way they look.
Okay.
It's
the Barry Bonds, the earring.
well, not just the earring, but just like the dude's wearing like turtlenecks and like blazers. Like, he's dressing nice. Like, he's dressing like he's not looking like a rock and roll guy or a metal guy or a hardcore like punk guy. Like, he, which is it's kind of like a newish trend. I think it's been done a while, but like the lead singer of Bad Omens dresses like the same way. He wears like, and the dude from Bring Me the Horizon has started doing this as well. But I don't know. I kind of dig it. And again, it doesn't matter to me. You could be in a fucking blue jeans and a fucking white t-shirt. I don't give a fuck. But like, the music speaks to me louder than the fucking image does. But like, I don't know. I like it. And I like that they're just kind of doing it, but again, fucking probably 25 years old. It's like, what the fuck do they have to lose? Like, they're, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like, I don't know how many risks are being taken. Perhaps there are some, but I'm just saying, like, at that age, with the record label they're on and the type of band they are, it's like, it feels like a good situation.
Can you explain what do you mean by risks? Like, what kind of risk could they be taking, or that other bands before them would be taking that they're not having?
Well, they're not old. What I'm saying is, if you have a band of 35-year-olds who are like, we're going to bring out this like poppy sound and we're going to dress real sniffy and
gotcha.
I don't know. Sniffy? Did I say sniffy?
You did. I heard it.
What's the word I'm looking for there? Help me out. Snazzy?
Sure. I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to connect sniffy to anything.
What the fuck does sniffy mean?
I don't know.
Why'd you let me do that? Correct me. Don't let me do that.
I can edit it out.
Jesus. I'm semi-educated. That was terrible. Yeah, that's what I mean by that. It's just sort of like, the shelf life. They have a shelf life, which is what record labels want. It's what they want. That's why they sign bands when they're fucking 20 years old. Give them time to develop and become who they're supposed to be.
So by shelf life, you mean like they have a long period of time that they can be doing this? Is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is like, you talk about, which it's been a long time since we talked about it, but like Chevelle, how I think they signed on with their record label for like 7 records.
Back in those days, 6 was the ideal number. Yeah.
Yeah, 6. I mean,
major label, indie label.
Which I guess you would consider that a shelf life too. Like, we can get 6 records out of this band, but man, if you're, even if you're putting out 1 record a year, that's 6 years that you're under this label, and then them talking about how like they don't make any money off of any of that. Like it's all basically touring and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Do we know
the
what
way
record?
that the labels work now is like, it doesn't
Do we know?
matter.
Do we know what label Dayseeker's under?
They are on Spine Farm.
Oh, they're on the same one as what Story of the Year just signed with?
Spine Farm, 36 Crazy Fist, Airborne, Anti-Flag, Atreyu, Billy Talent, The Browning, Bullet for My Valentine, Dayseeker,
Yeah, dude.
Dead Poet Society, Dead Set, Electric Wizard, He is Legend, Refused, Killing Joke, Saint Asonia, Scorpions, Shining, Stone Broken, Sleep Token, Varsity, While She Sleeps. Yeah, so no, Story's not on. Story's on, what I say? Sharp Tone? I think it's Sharp Tone.
Maybe that's what it was then. Maybe I'm
Tear Me to Pieces on the front
Okay.
page.
nice.
Sharp Tone. Let's see who they have. Well, their website moves slower, so minus 2 points. August Burns Red, Bleeding Through, Crystal Lake. God damn, dude, this label's loaded too. Currents, Curses, Don Bracco, Immure. Fuck me, this label's got a ton of people. Jesus. Miss May I of Mice and Men. God. Polaris, Stepson, Stuck Out, Story of the Year. We Came as Romans. Good God. Well, good for them both.
Yeah, for sure.
So before we